Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up a telephone and call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues. You can introduce your own topic. We fear no subject matter. We take calls. We don't like rules, but we encourage you to be respectful. One of the things I must applaud this RealFM radio station for, they always insist that people are respectable to one another. And that was significant. Over the last 10 years, we had radio personalities very, very disrespectful to people, organization, politician, churches, other different group. So one radio station, the most successful radio station outside of St. George's, was a template on its own, demanding that we show maximum respect to people in the public, to individuals, and it's a good reminder. When you hear people permit people to go wrong, you could find a whole drove of people following. Nothing is wrong if you traveling in a whole boat with filth. You could still keep the little corner where you are clean. It only takes one person to make a spark. We believe that. That's why we believe we could change things in this country. We must have discussion in our homes, in the village, in the communities. On Tuesday afternoon, I was in the rum shop. I sit down with John Galt and Tilita. You see, I like to speak with John Galt, He's very negative, very pessimistic, but he likes to give reasons and justification for the position he takes. And he likes to quote the Bible, He ain't going to church, but he quoting the Bible more than Christian. So I asked him, I put a case in front of him. I wanted to go to Richard Duncan. I wanted to bring a case to Richard Duncan to see if I could get him to talk to the Prime Minister, to show the Prime Minister, Deacon Mitchell, that he should cease and desist from being an agent selling passport. Now that he's the Prime Minister of the country, he ought not to get involved in selling passport. Well, John Galt asked me, who is this person I'm speaking about? I said, Richard Duncan is a good man. He encouraged public officers to walk the straight and narrow. And I believe he's trying to walk the straight and narrow. And he's an advisor in finance. He said, on target, you have faith, you could change these people. You remember, irrespective of how they advised the National Democratic Congress not to cut down Belvedere nutmeg. They cut down Belvedere nutmeg and plant banana. He said one of the NDC directors write a whole book on black gold. And then irrespective of all the internal advice NDC had, they cut down Belvedere nutmeg and plant banana. You say you can advise them. They just call you traitors. Yes, caller, welcome. Go right ahead, caller.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, my brother. You ready in the back?
Man. You're speaking the facts and you're speaking the books, right? Yeah. Let me take it down. Yeah. What I realized lately with the NDC is that they are, according to you, doing leadership by avoidance, right? Leadership by avoidance. And let me tell the NDC supporters who don't understand what governance and what administration is supposed to be. There is no such thing as called popularity. Popularity is not leadership, and leadership is not popularity. Endurance, gumption, is what makes a leader, right? once you've been a leader, you must have all these attributes. What the NDC is doing, or the NDC acquired members is doing, the government has 9 members, and the Senate have how many members, right? Honorable Deacon Mitchell, Minister of National Security, I am begging you again, sir, please come and give us a little talk on press, wherever, go by doctor journalist, go by the narrative lady. Open the thing, because watch me, you're traveling like a bird, right? You're free like a bird, you can fly. Some of these countries you have never been to yet. You and your ministers are traveling. Minister Ron Redhead is in Cuba, he's going to America. Who are paying for these trips? Where is the explanations for these trips? I don't care who's saying what. We need to hear what you're going to do in Dubai, what this minister going to do in Cuba, what is happening in New York. And so far, we're not hearing it. Minister of National Security, Minister of Government Business, and all. This is not a fair ground for playing with greed and money. If you guys continue to do these things, Grenada will not like it. Mr. Pierre, have a good afternoon.
Yes, scholar. Yes, John Gold say a surprise at you, man. He said it doesn't change. He said irrespective of all the advice they get, they still cut down Belvedere nutmeg. He said, remember, one of the main directors wrote a book, Black Gold. They informed them that nutmeg taking about 10 years to mature and banana taking 9 months. The extension officers informed them that Belvedere is the wrong belt to plant nutmeg in, to plant banana in. But they still cut down the crop. They take a loan in the bank and cut down the nutmeg. I understand one farmer, he wanted to get in the project, so he single his. When everybody don't get in a grade of nutmeg, he going to the pool laughing. They still went and they dig up River and Twine, cut down all the trees. The people in agriculture begged them, if you want to plant organic for Salisbury or Salisbury, you must bring in cattle about 2 years before to get enough organic material. They say they are poultry. They say you can't use poultry. You can't use swine manure. You have to use cattle or sheep or goat. They never bother with extension. They refuse to take an extension officer from within, and they get somebody new, so they can interfere with them. He tell me the National Democratic Congress doesn't hear. He said, remember the song Wizard sing? Inside NDC is NNP. They say once you is a moderate in the National Democratic Congress, they does not take advice from it. He tell me they're like a pig that crossing the road. When they decide to cross the road, they cross the road. You see, it's important because the Prime Minister of Grenada, Deacon Mitchell, is on the wrong trajectory. You cannot be an agent to sell passport and you are the same person that's signing for selling the passport. This smell corruption. Godwin Contact, he said the government must legalize illegality. If he was wrong, he would have said the same thing. These things is wrong. And you have a number of people in the National Democratic Congress in particular that used to right wrong and walk wrong as if them is the custodian of morality. And now they shut them out. The Congress sell NCB Bank. John Galt say you forget. They beg them not to sell the bank. They say if you sell in the bank, sell it for about 12 Englishmen. Because each of them that come down here about $2 million, they don't know what to do with. They're building a big, big house for poor people, children, and bat. So he said, go and sell it to them. Encourage them to vote together with government. So although you sell it to them, government could still have the controlling say. They don't bother, they sell it. The manager of the bank support them. He thought he'd get a job. The bank sent him quite in Ghana in the jungle, in a small, small bank. Mosquito nearly killed him up there. He said the NDC doesn't hear. He said they beg them not to sell peace in the market. The people built the market years ago. When the population increased, the NDC sell peace in the market. He said, Richard Duncan what? He said, if you have faith in the man, lead the man. Don't go and interfere with the man. He cannot help you. So ask him what I got to do. He said, continue on the radio, wasting time and babbling. He said, who knows? People in Dominica, St. Vincent, St. Lucia might hear you and they might whisper. Dick might quicker listen to them. He ain't listening to nobody here. He said, you don't see what happened? The members of the National Democratic Congress believe the Ministry of Finance is a supermarket. So 2 of the members get loan from the GDB Bank. They're traveling all over the world because of the kickbacks. They could say get the money from hotels and good experience. He said this kind of attitude is never see people that want to make massive use of the opportunity that they have, irrespective of who is affected. You see, we could solve our problems in this country, you know, but we have to prepare to listen to the referees in the country. What I mean by that? If you have a son in your house, the neighbor first does know that your son going to school with a knife. But because you ain't talking with your neighbor, she ain't telling you nothing. Your neighbor fast, you must know. She must know your son has a knife going to school. So you must continue to have discussion with your neighbors. Just as how you know which man your neighbor daughter going with. She know your son have a knife in the bag. But none of you are not talking to with one another. So we have to sit down and hold discussion in the neighborhood, in the community, to solve the problems that we have. The National Democratic Congress have to listen to the referees, not because they're against something that you do doesn't make them a traitor. Culture man, you could call me, you know. I know you don't want to say nothing wrong about NDC now. But I always say it's the worst government where agriculture is concerned. The National Democratic Congress has done the worst for agriculture. All our look back in history, I cannot find a government that has contributed more negatively to agriculture than the NDC. Look at what they do with marketing board. As soon as they come, they don't even make up their mind what they're doing yet. What is the ramification? They don't have answers. Look at what they do with marketing board. Look at the manner in which they treat the farmers. Look at how they treat them hairdressers. Jukutu little hairdresser in Ticolo. The woman say, well, she closing down she office and she going back in she house because she customers start continue coming in she house. The only reason she open like a building, she said, because she find she husband used to watch those customers too much. But right now, she going back in she house. Look at what the government did. I don't know where the government go away and hear what's going on in America. And they believe they could implement it, lob, stock, and barrel in Grenada. And they ain't taking no advice. The oak tree that grow in England, it could grow in Africa and Grenada, but it wouldn't be the same tree. Don't expect the oak in England to be the same like the oak in Grenada. We're growing apples in Grenada, but it tastes slightly different. Sometimes it don't have this strong color like the apples that grow in America. You cannot take a law, lob, stock, and barrel, and implement it in your country as if it's martial law. But he tell me so NDC is. He say you forget what NDC grandmother do in 1962. They put out a law. They tell Grenadians they will get the same pay like Trinidad to vote unitary state because Trinidad have oil. So if you vote for them, you're getting the same pay like Trinidad. So the National Democratic Congress have this long history. John Galdo believe I could do nothing about it. He say if Richard Duncan walk in the straight and narrow, he must get a little blind, leave him alone. Deacon wouldn't hear him. But I believe we must appeal to the moderates in the National Democratic Congress. Because the present environment puts you in a stronghold, you're strangulated. You lack the ability to defend the actions of your government. You know? That doesn't, sorry for Culture Man, you know. It's hard for him to defend NDC. The only thing he could ask for more time. Well, 9 months now. Long enough for a child to born. And there doesn't seem that there is any indication that the NDC is checking themselves. They continue to make blunder after blunder. Look at the massive contingent they have to go for the king coronation. And nothing is wrong with that because Grenada like the king. Maurice Bishop said, when they asked Maurice Bishop, how you have a revolution in Grenada, you suspend the constitution and you keep the queen. Maurice Bishop said Grenadian like the queen. So he keep the queen. We had a referendum to make some changes in the constitution. The lawyers in Grenada, they said no, they prefer the Privy Council. They don't want the CCG. The NDC said no, we like the queen. We ain't changing nothing. So I don't blame Deacon. If everybody like the queen, go and see what you could do with the king. But you go with a massive contingent. You are not mindful of the cry of the woman in Union, the one that puts your telephone number. She say investigate the case. Remove her from the seed program. That money you take in and go and see the king, you could have at least provided for her on the seed program. The money that you're using to squander, to travel to sell passport with your company, that money must be given back to the treasury. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, the Prime Minister said, he said that the Ghanaian people need a lot of money. And he said that if you go here, they go see a lot of money. Yes, Ghanaian people need a lot of money. But I wonder who...
You must always remember, find out when the Prime Minister is speaking, who he's speaking to.
Exactly.
Because remember, they classify the good people. So he may not be speaking to the people he take all the $150 from.
So they are not Ghanaians.
We say that you have to be very careful. The Prime Minister is a lawyer, you know. He's not Tevin Andrew, you know, that could say anything and get away with it. The Prime Minister say the good people. So if the party is advocating the good people, when he speak about gradients, maybe he not speaking about the people he take the $150.
Yeah, like these people that he tell them you get permanent and they vote for him.
He lie for them.
Right? You see, the Grenadian people need a lot of money. But to me, like it seems like the lot of money, is, as I say, is the people that the good people that vote. So even those that vote for him, you don't consider them. You turn it back on them. Right? So I know the purpose of a government is not to make life more difficult for people. It's to make life better for everyone in the country. Right? And what you see happening, while some getting a lot of money, the less fortunate, the later they get in, it's getting less and lesser. Right? So who are seeking for these people? The government are there to seek the interest. But when you have the government that should seek the interest of the less fortunate, the government doing that, what do you expect others going to do? They are the one that representing all the people in the country. While you have a union, we represent the client, right? Okay, but then the government has to represent everyone. When an election call, and whoever party won election, it's not like NFC government or NDC government. It's the government of Great Caribbean Peter Martin. Right? So you have to seek the interest.
What color? You saying that is the purpose of the government for you, from your opinion? The NDC don't believe that.
They don't believe that.
Every time the NDC come in power, as soon as they come in power, they're disadvantaging a particular group.
Right? So that it come like you tell the young people, you tell the less fortunate, those on contract, you love them, you care about them, and if you go in the bank to get a loan on contract, you cannot get it. And which is that you take them and we bring them in the ocean. And when we see the ocean, they give you the blessing and succeed. Now you tell them, you care about them again. If you could swim, make it. If you can't swim, stay outside and die.
You remember what I told Imani? Mm-hmm. They say we make a political mistake.
A political mistake. And they won't happen again.
You see, no. They didn't tell them they make a moral blunder. They never say they make an economic mistake. You know. They say when we fire you, we make a political mistake. So this time we will make you permanent.
Exactly. So no, if the people are making a political mistake.
Well, the people are always making color in 1962. NDC grandmother. They say.
Yeah. It's older.
You see, we have to be careful because not all the time a government seeks our interests. You see, if you're a big businessman, you're a very intelligent person, you highty-tighty, the best thing is about NDC.
Yeah, well, listen, I understand what you're saying. Okay, all right. A businessman, he needs people to work with him, eh? Right? You need people to work with you. And when, let's say, like, you have a business, and then 200 persons in the village where you live in, where you have your business, and then tell people to vote for you. We are that government going to help me as a business person. So when this government, you encourage the people to vote for you, and then out of the 200 people that you come and shop in your business, 175 out of a job, it affects your business person. They can't shop. They can't come and shop again.
Color, there's some individuals that wrote an article in the early 80s. It was wrong. They said that 85 families is going to own more than 60% of the world's wealth. Around that time, inclusive started coming. So an individual bring a hotel in the country, but the people pay money and the hotel provide all the service for him, from doctor service to recreational facilities. The company own everything and people work with them. You see, more and more, because of artificial intelligence, because of technology. All right, Color. More and more, because of artificial intelligence, because of technology, less people is needed in the workplace. So in today's society, more people are turning millionaires, but less people are employed. And this government is not too particular, not too concerned, not too sensitive about the people in the lower income group. All the actions indicate that. Every time the NDC comes in power, they go after selling the assets of this country. Every time. They want to build a teaching hospital. They know a teaching hospital would not increase the health service in this country. It would not be better for our people. But a few people will make a lot of money from it. And when the government is speaking about a lot of money, you must always be mindful who they're speaking about. One of the union leaders was saying fools could make money. Fools could make money. But wise people go spend it. Sometimes we don't listen. When these intelligent men speak, you must listen. They're not Tevin and Joy. They're just jumping up and saying things. That is intelligent people. But when they get excited, you see, when the Prime Minister was in Tobago, he speak the truth. He said, we campaign on a policy, but it's really restorative justice. And I have not heard any one of the Grenadians, they must be shocked. Somebody NDC heavyweight shocked. Because they never expect him to say that. They discuss it in the lab. But they never expect him to put it out. But he was so relaxed in Tobago. I don't know which one excited him the most. Whether it was the man or the woman. He was very relaxed. So he speak the truth. And he has not addressed it. So why is some people talking about transformation? It is not transformation. It is restorative justice. And that is in an environment when the government stated in the budget that they dispose of assets. Some people have said divest. They use the word dispose of assets. So we don't expect them to make statutory bodies with it. We expect them to sell it. As how they sell NCB Bank in yesteryear. Grenada never recover from that. By the next 2 years, the bank making millions of dollars in profit. So this is a policy of the government. And we have to be careful. We have to be prepared to discuss the issues. One of the biggest challenges that we have in Grenada is the National Democratic Congress does not even listen to their own moderate supporters. That is why John Gall tell me Richard Duncan can do nothing. You say it don't make sense wasting your time going to Richard. Although you have confidence in him, and he advocated to walk the straight and narrow, he can't do nothing. Yes, caller, welcome.
Afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, Mrs. Sister, welcome.
How are you
Great,
today,
man.
sir?
Yeah, great.
Well, asking you, please, I don't know if you could help us pray to save our country. Because sorry for the hairdressers, the nail technician, the barbers, you cannot do nothing private. Everything has to be public. So the government must get a cut in every dollar you make. Nothing for the poor and vulnerable. You can't come out down there and say you're opening something to help yourself to fry to piece of chicken by your home because they hunting your house. They hunting house down to house to see what you're doing in your house private. Nothing is private for the poor people. So the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And if you don't like it, it's just that. And we cannot do nothing. Nobody to help us. The Prime Minister he come back, nobody don't know what he get, what he don't get. He gone again. Coming back Sunday. So he only flying and the money spending and when you go in the shop, not $2, thing go buy $3, $3.50. A pound of manure is $3 now, $15 for 5 pounds of manure. Farmers don't even have place to sell right now. So every morning you wake up is a different story and new dimension. So right now that is real restorative justice. That is restorative justice, and that is just the beginning of the justice. So have a blessed evening.
Yes. When you hear we pray and ask God for patience, and then we leave home and the first person that come to us, we curse them. God give us opportunity to have patience. You go in the supermarket and the workers hostile. And they tell you they pray this morning. But they said that is the first opportunity to do the test. That's why you do examination. So anytime you have a government like NDC, you could think there are opportunities. For instance, people could discuss issues in their home, the spouse, man and woman. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
Indulge me again. You are one of the most calm voice I'm hearing with patience. Yeah? That last caller made a point. The Prime Minister and their ministers that are traveling, right? And they are not given any response as to where they're going. Well, we see online where they're going, but when they come back, we're not seeing what is the benefits that they're not giving us any response. And I listened to our program this morning where a certain caller say, well, for the last 9 years, what been happening and that wasn't happening. And I was like, this guy living in a cocoon, because NMP was in office from 2013 to 2022. And they always had press conferences. They always had. What I want to say, can anyone of the sycophants of NDC tell me prior to 2021, October 31st, who was the Honorable, well, them time, Deacon Mitchell, who is no Prime Minister? Who was he? Where was he? Where did he serve in any capacity as a senator, a minister, or any cultural leader? Where was he? We always seen when first-time politicians come in any fray, what happens? Donald Trump is one. He has money. You see what happened in America. There are many people that come in as first-time politicians with their deep pockets. Mr. Pierre, the Honorable Prime Minister is on many boards. He represents many companies, right? Who don't like it, don't want to hear it. What I'm saying very clearly right now, they gone into the coronation of the King Charles III, and there's no problem with that. Where is the opposition leader, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell? No, we had no opposition leader for the last 9 years. That democracy, they vote in the man twice, overwhelmingly. So if this Prime Minister had to go and the governor, who is the head of state, who represents...
I don't think the gentleman is I think his level of arrogance and disrespect would not have... and because none of the individuals around him would able to counsel him.
To tell him.
Yeah, I don't think they could counsel him.
Right.
And this is a common factor of the National Democratic Congress.
Right.
That is why
Mr.
they make
Pierre.
all these blunders they make.
Mr. Pierre, Mr. Pierre, I will always say, popularity is not leadership. Arrogance is not leadership. Learn and listen.
Caller, you know which government that liberalized the telecommunication network?
Yes.
And you also know which government that set up the Truth and Reconciliation Committee?
Yes, yes,
You
I
see, caller, that is the problem. A lot of people don't know that.
do. I know it. But hold on, Mr. Pierre, hold on. You are a very educated person.
Well,
Yes?
I in tongue long, you know, and I in the
Well,
rum shop too, so you know,
Well, yeah,
you discuss these issues.
Let me say this before I leave. What I hate is when I hear stupidity being spewed on radio. When I hear a certain person saying that a government signed document with a government seal document saying, oh, is what? Technocrats and them making the government look bad. Watch me. I'll tell you something. Minister of Trouble, MIT, get your act together. Get your act together. There are too many things going on wrong in this present administration, and Grenadians, take it with a grain of salt if you don't like it. It's not and it's that. Look what is happening. We need to be very serious. Grenada is...
Yes, scholar?
Have a good day.
Yes, scholar. Yes, we always have to remember that even the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. So we have to listen and have patience with one another. And we have to encourage the government of the day to behave better. It is in their political interest to do better. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. P.
Yes, my.
And
welcome.
how are you?
Great, man. Good, man.
Mr. P, I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed even to call myself, as I said, like a Grenadian.
No, that when the going get tough, that is the time the tougher to get going.
I do understand. To think we are post-thriving little country here, Grenada. Mr. P, how much more will it benefit the government by destroying the small businesses like the barber shop, nail technician, and hairdresser? They stoop so low, to go down so low, Mr. Pierre.
I don't think the government thought about that, you know. You see, the NDC normally, natural for them not to be sensitive to this group of people. They normally don't care about this group throughout history. So they didn't really check the effect in them. They said I needy and greedy people, eat a food people,
exactly.
culture.
But Mr. Pierre, these needy and greedy people acquire such skill since they was young. So them learn to cut hair, so them learn to braid hair, so them learn to do nails, even by watching somebody, and they acquire the skill and they put it into good use, and they have their little business. And I remember our previous Prime Minister said, if you have a little business and you employ one person, that you bring in development into the country. So therefore now we have to bring something to the table. They jump in on a plane and they're going everywhere, Mr. Pierre. These people got big money. Why doesn't bring back something for Grenada? Why doesn't he go on his knees and beg King Charles to make sure we bring money into Grenada? Let's invest into Grenada.
What the government doing there is sabotaging the cottage industry. The government is sabotaging small industries in the country. And don't believe the government, they don't believe they're completely dumb, you know. They don't want small businesses rise. In a country like ours, so government cannot employ all the people.
Well, so answer the question, Mr. Pierre. How, when you get rid of these small businesses and them, how would they feed themselves and their family? What has the government put in place to cover them, to give them something? Why don't they bring other development in the country so they could get a job? So at least you destroy what they have, what they made from scratch. So you bring development into the country so everyone could get a job so they could feed their family. Because we as a people becoming poor and impoverished. By whom? Not by ourselves, by the government of the day. They are the one who making the people poor. They're making them poorer and poorer. So in return now, when they get up in the morning, they can't feed their children. They have to beg. These people don't want to beg. So that's the reason why they develop their own little business, their own little skill. They put it into good use. So why are you trying to stop them from doing that? Right? This is not a government. They say you don't like black, you don't like the poor people. You don't like poor people, you're only going for rich people. But remember, one day the poor put them up there, and one day they'll come back to knocking on the door for the vote. I wish them all the luck.
Yes, Scholar, thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
It's very important. That's why you see I don't waste time with history in school. People must learn the family history, learn the village history, know the truth. You see, Tilaita's daughter don't know how hard and tough it was for her mother. She's the last child out of 10, the only child to get tertiary educated. But she's not proud of the mother, because the mother go in jail for blogger. The mother go in jail for bloggers. So where she living in St. George's, she don't meddle with Tilaita. That is the attitude of some of our leaders and some of our people in the country. They're misguided. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes,
again.
my brother, welcome.
This NCB Bank issue, Republic bought it. People bought shares around that same time because a certain percentage went for Republic Bank. About 3 years ago, or maybe 4 by now, time flies, the management of the bank came back to the shareholders, the Grenada shareholders. Maybe they did it all everywhere they had assets. And point out to the shareholders that the minuscule shares that we have in this case in Grenada situation is forcing the bank, putting pressure on the bank. So they wanted the owners to sell the shares to the bank. Well, most people refused. I'm aware of that. But some people took the bait and they sold their shares. About 3 months after, the bank went in Africa and bought shares and bought banks up to the tune of $9 billion. When they were claiming to the shareholders that they weren't making money, to the tune of over $9 billion, they bought banks in Africa. And from that time on, shareholders have not been getting dividends in this country. Pack of nonsense.
Because it's our own people that are tricking us, sir. It's our own people that are tricking us, sir.
And you know what was amazing? At the time, Mr. What is his name again? Not my boy. I know him.
You're not about to call him. Oh yeah.
Mr. McIntyre was the director of the bank.
Okay.
He died about 2 years ago, if I could recall time. And we had other people who were directors of the bank who are Grenadians.
Yes. Yeah, one they sent him quite in Guyana. I don't know if you touch it. When they sell the bank, I get back to the manager of the bank. They sell him in Guyana, mosquito, nearly he thought he had to come back.
This morning, Andre made a statement, or he was calling on the Calypsonians after pointing to so much of the nonsense that the government is doing. Calling on the Calypsonians to, like one might say, pick up their guns again. And he made a mistake and called on
Black Wizard
to open him out.
Yes, I don't think it was a mistake.
I have to point out to Andre that Black Wizard right now has a handcuff on his mouth.
Black Wizard said inside NDC's NNP, you know.
The thing about what do you call him? The one that is the permanent secretary and the Calypsonian, Finley Jeffrey. Finley Jeffrey could open his mouth as much as he wants because he's protected by the Public Service Commission.
Yeah, he could open him up.
If he's not satisfied with what is going on and he say anything, they can't try him.
Yeah, but
that can't make the mistake and open his mouth right now. He's a diplomat.
Yeah.
That's one thing he would not do.
Yeah.
And for a matter, he should promote the nonsense that is being done.
Yeah,
That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
His job is to promote it.
Yeah.
But he's a diplomat. Yeah. To an extent, BJ made a mistake too. BJ described this government effort or attitude as desperate. My understanding of that, what is going on there now, is worse than desperation, is madness. To the extent that they are confused.
There are different degrees. There are different degree of desperation. Desperation, confusion, misdirection, all kind of things you could use.
Well, they are absolutely confused. So it's not just a case of desperation. They are confused, so they have no clue how to define what they are doing. All they know, they are doing things on the whims and fancies of whatever. Look at the case of the Queen's Park vendors. I mean, you could take these people from there and put them into this market square once again.
But that is easy for caller. That is easy for the NDC to do. How NDC could cut down Belleville and Nutmeg and plant banana? How they could sell peace in the market? The market shaped like a right angle. They sell a corner in the market. How they could dig up around the lake, cut down the trees, irrespective of all the agriculture advice they have, and plant banana for Salisbury or Southbury.
I mean, some of the decisions these guys are making is absolutely absurd.
With a spice
And on top of
program.
that, you know, yesterday I heard I heard a little bit about it, but not actually in the was really going on there concerning the hairdressers and so on. I mean, how you come up with this type of things?
Well, maybe it is a law. Maybe it
I mean,
is.
you're fine. These people are going to be fined if they find them guilty or whatever. A lot of thousands of dollars for violating a simple, what could be considered a simple rule. And for them, how you come up with the rule in the laws in the first place?
How you cut the insurance payment in US?
That's anything. They have to I mean, there's so much nonsense concerning this thing right now. And this whole administration, and you know, they're using the word administration. Administration is a functioning way you get things done. It seems like everything these guys are touching is just turning into nothing. It's just smashing in the process.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be building.
Yeah.
To administrate means to develop and to build. But I don't want some of the guys to understand they're doing. They're confused, man. They're absolutely confused.
Yeah,
They're not
thank you.
administrating.
Yeah.
Take care, sir.
You know, and that's the challenge. I culture man, are in sympathy with you and a number of others. It is difficult. It is extremely difficult for one of the politicos, a political activist of the National Democratic Congress to defend this, what they're doing. What they're doing does not make economic sense. Particularly those that had hope. What the NDC doing now, it defied the odds. Contact would have said the government must legalize illegality. The Prime Minister is an agent for selling passports. And the Prime Minister is the final authority for putting his signature to that passport. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, welcome.
I just want to say a big thank you and how grateful I am to the fire department of the Grenville police station on the quick response. A fire that, well, it was a fire to a house, an electrical fire, and within seconds they were there.
It close to Grenville?
Very grateful.
Close to Grenville?
Right in, yes, in telescope. When I say seconds, they were there at a very quick time. I really want to say thank you to them. 975 Renault, 631 Bola, and Miss Joseph. I want to thank them so very much for the response. You know, I wish the Lord will continue to bless them so that, you know, I'm saying that because sometimes when we don't get the quick response we want, we say negative thing about them, and there are people that they're sorry. I don't say that they don't do wrong, but I must say thank you.
When they do something right, it's good to compliment
yes,
them.
the world must know. The world must know.
Right.
So I really, really want to, you know, to say thank you to them for the quick response and all the neighbors around that were there to save the house. Thank you so very much.
Yes, and I have complimented the police force in Grenada. You have always perhaps heard me over the last umpteen years speaking about the people in the government pharmacies. There is some people you don't hear about, the Ministry of Finance. That's why they met the Treasury pregnant. And the police force. The police had a very good reputation that this government need to continue to build on. Build on what is good. Make it better. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
They made the Treasury pregnant with money.
Yes, the pregnant.
Good.
Yeah.
Because fools make money and wise man spend it.
And wise man spend.
Anyhow, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, my brother.
This traffic, they money up in the stadium. Why you tell them they have to stay in the stadium? The market is for vendors, market vendors. The stadium is not for market vendors. They have to come out. Regardless that they like it or don't like it, they have to come out there. There's a must. Mr. Pierre. I don't see how you could support in that the market vendors should stay in the stadium. That is nonsense. You
What
get
did
me
I
there.
say
How you
about
could
that?
support that?
What did I say about that?
You're supporting it because
What?
you're against them moving. You're against them. You're a wicked man. How you could support that, Mr. Pierre?
Go ahead, Color.
You can't stay in the stadium. It's a must, Mr. Pierre. So I don't see how you and your blind people and them could support in this kind of stupidness. That is why it's because all your negativeness, all stupidness. You have all these people on the sidewalk, you know. People can't pass in the market. All you supporting the people on the sidewalk. Let us stay there. They're wicked. The government should move them. But all you creating more nonsense in this country and anything else. All you wicked. All you are supporting this kind of stupidness. Why they're going on there? Kids me one fame. So he later stay there for how much years? They're in the market square. Move. What kind of man you is? You're a wicked old man. You have a good day.
All right, thank you, Color. Thank you very much, and it's always good to hear your voice on the issue. And next caller, welcome.
You still want to hear your voice, Mr. Pierre?
Yes, it's always. You see, we have to hold discussion. We have to have.
He's not contributing nothing to your program.
Color. We have to have discussion. Husband and wife in house want to bite off one another. Only in the night the man want to pet the woman. You have to sit down and hold discussion. You have to listen with one another.
By calling you stupid all the time.
Wicked. Once he don't call me as wicked, he could attack me, no problem.
Mr. Pierre, go and continue listening to that man. One know why you are with us, but you always give him 20 minutes.
No. He ain't take 20. He take about 2.5.
All right, okay. Yeah. I keep on calling you wicked.
Yeah. We have to encourage people to have dialogue. One of the problems we have in Guinea, we're not speaking. We're behaving as if we're bad bull. Wife and husband and children in the house must sit down and hold discussion to solve the problem. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, ma'am, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, you is Job.
Well, in this country now, if everybody pick up their sword and want to fight, we will just end up with a lot of tail and no head. So
you
we have to
Mr. Pierre, you have guts than bully. Mr. Pierre, it's time and over time for you to get rid of that man.
We want the colours. We want people to express themselves. Everybody have a lot of esteem, you know.
Mr. Pierre, expressing himself on calling you a stupidity.
Well, yeah, he could call
me. Old man. I wonder if he getting younger every day.
Caller, we lose about 16 people in our home in St. Patrick's. And I call it because of disrespect for the elderly, you know. Oh. One man leave, they don't even go and look for him. Yes, some women go and look for him.
So what do that, mister?
So we have to try. We have to try.
I'm asking that question again. I wonder if he's in Mongays.
No, we don't want to know where he is. He has a democratic right.
Something wrong with that man.
Yeah, but we want to encourage.
You have to see and make sure that man take his medication and check himself. He need a lot of counseling. It's a good thing in the back of a spoon cannot hold nothing.
So that is why we have to encourage him to continue to listen to our program and make our contribution.
No, he can understand, he can hear.
Yeah.
Because at the time you're talking and you're explaining things to him and to the nation, what he getting answer?
Well, yeah. We have
this smallest child now.
You see the turmoil we have in homes. You see how we want to fight with one another. How friends shooting one another.
You don't hear how that man coming out.
Yeah,
but
we have to exercise a lot of patience and a lot of tolerance.
Man, you is Job.
And you see how we are appealing to the government not to implement restorative justice.
Some people be once they hear his voice.
No.
As an announcer, they cut him out because he getting an alico too much.
Yeah, thank you.
We had enough of him.
Yes, thank you.
And you supposed to control your program.
All right,
it's not he that making it.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. So basically, we have to encourage. You have a lot of radio personalities over the last 10 years that I consider them as preaching hate. They cost the church. They say the church sucking the anus of a political party. Now, when individuals behave like that, the political organization have to disown them or ask them to take back that statement. We have freedom. We don't want to censor people. But if you're going to identify public with a political party or radio programs, and that's why I like RealFM. RealFM is the most successful story in radio outside of St. George's. They have been functioning for 18 or 19 years. And they have reached out to the public in every creek and corner. And they have done it with grace and respect. And that's why we encourage the people in the communities to advertise with the radio station, identify with them. We could only make it stronger. But more than that, we will encourage other radio stations to function. If RealFM could have survived in a knot all those years and be successful and maintain that principle of civility and respect for all and sundry, others could do it and survive too. And we must continue to prepare to hold discussion in our homes with our neighbors. Sometimes you have aggressive people in the neighbors. Sometimes they have their cutlass in their hand. But they just need somebody to listen to them. And we could change things. We could make things better. If I believe John Gall tell me don't waste time with Richard Duncan, he can't help Deacon. But we're back with you again next week between 12 and 1 for another program on Target. So thank you very much.